I've never heard HELOC before, and I own property. So, like, I don't know if that's total ignorance or it's because I'm not familiar with real estate, but can you define HELOC for me one time? I get it, it's a loan, but
Yes.
I'm not clear.
Okay. HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. Now, I just helped a client yesterday, and what they said was if they go get a HELOC or a home equity line of credit, the bank will lend you money against your equity in your home. And they generally will give you somewhere between 85 to 90% of the equity in your home in the form of a revolving line of credit. So let's just say that you have a HELOC or 80% of your equity comes to about $150,000. So you now have a $150,000 line of credit that's sitting there waiting for something to happen. All right. For you to be able to use that. And a HELOC is generally good for 10 years. You don't have to use any of that money. While it's sitting there available to you, it costs you nothing. There's no interest to be paid. But if you borrow $5,000 from the HELOC, they start charging you interest immediately because then you pay interest on the average daily balance. Once you pay back the $5,000, they stop charging you the interest, but you can then re-borrow the $5,000 without taking out a new loan. Think of it as a $160,000 credit card. That's how you can use a HELOC. Now, I have talked to investors, all right, and they're just getting their feet wet in the investment thing. And so I have one client who says, you know what? I need $70,000 for a down payment on my new $700,000 home. But they were using my program and they were aggressively paying down their current mortgage so that they only had a little bit left. I said, you got plenty. This is, what do you mean? I said, get a HELOC on your current home. All right. So he got a couple of $100,000 available to him. He's not using it, but he took 70,000 of it and put it as a down payment on his new home. When he moves into his new home, he's going to put a renter in the old home to help pay it all off, both homes, in about 10 years. TM, does that help?
Bro, that's like, whoa. And so just the term itself, HELOC, right? Had never heard that before. Certainly understand a line of credit. What you just said, 150,000, I know I have at least that in one of my properties. And so this is a dynamic strategy to pay it down and to save a whole lot of money.
Not only that, TM, but because it's a home equity line of credit and not a personal line of credit, guess what? There is a possibility, because a home equity line of credit is like a second mortgage, and mortgage interest has the potential of being tax deductible, where your personal line of credit interest has no chance of being tax deductible.
Wow.
Come on with it, Don.
Wow.
Listen, all of this information is out there, folks, but you're not getting it anywhere else. You're getting it here at the P.I.L.L method. And more people are showing up and lending their voice to this movement. And yes, it's a movement. Interest cancellation is a movement. Understanding financial literacy from this point of view is a movement. And do you know why this movement needs to be? Because of this one fact. 9 out of 10 people you know, I'm not talking about across the country, I'm talking about 9 out of 10 people you know will never pay a mortgage off, ever. I don't care how old you are. You could be in your 90s if you're listening to me. I need you to think back of all the people you've ever known that had a mortgage and how many of them have actually paid it off. It's going to be less than 10% of the people you know. So folks, when we get a mortgage, was it our intention when we got the mortgage to die with the mortgage? Was that our intention?
Oh, you
Absolutely
said
not.
God with so much emphasis. My God.
Oh,
No, sir.
absolutely. Wake it up.
Ooh, PM. Ooh.
So why in the world are we embroiled in a system where 90% of us are sure to fail? Folks, it is time for us to wake up. My average client pays off all of their debt, including their 30-year mortgage, in an average of 7 to 9 years. Even E.T., the hip hop preacher, used this system to pay off his mortgage in 4 years. Now, he's not average. He'll tell you. E.T.'s not going out like that. I ain't average. So he did it in 4. So, folks, I get emails all the time. I have one client say, listen, thank you, Don, for helping me to pay off $310,000 in 3.6 years. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. This is what we're doing here. So let's get out of the old rat race. We need new information. You know what they say. If you keep doing the same thing and looking for a different result, that is the sheer definition of what?
Insanity, brother.
There you go. So if you want a new thing, you got to do a new thing. If you want to be out of debt in 7 to 9 years, you cannot use any of the methods that are currently being taught to you right now by the financial gurus that are in place today.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.